This is the first Zoom one that I've done, so bear with me. I'm like, I fix people, I don't fix technology. Okay, cool. So getting comfy, close your eyes, taking a couple deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just wherever you are in the world, whatever time of day it is, you want to see if you can settle into the inner landscape of your body. And start to search out all the little nooks and crannies of the body. And see what you can find. Notice where you're holding tension. Notice what your breath is up to. Is the inhale longer than the exhale? Is the exhale longer than the inhale? See if you can start to nudge the inhale and the exhale closer to the same length. And while you're doing this, just give you a little info about tonight's class. Or today's class, because it could be morning where you are. I'm in Sweden. I'm Sahara Lee. And it is 8 o'clock at night here, a little after 8. And this is a Yin Yoga class. So Yin is all about the inner landscape. It's about turning our awareness inwards and being okay with what is, which is kind of what the world is asking us to do right now. It's saying, hey, I'm going to take away all this external stimulation. And I am going to ask you to be with yourself a lot more than you might be used to being with yourself. And I'm going to ask you to be okay with what is. So this is becoming a real practice for people on and off the mat. And the practice of Yin Yoga is a very gentle practice, but it is also a practice where you need to be present with discomfort, because we're going to be in these poses for 3 to 5 minutes. They're all super gentle poses, and I'm going to offer different depths that you can go. And you probably won't need any props, but they're always nice to have. If it's just a pillow, so I've got a pillow. If you've got blocks, if you've got a strap, if you've got books, whatever you need, you can make a lot out of a little. So if you don't have any blocks, grab a couple books. If you don't have a strap, grab a scarf, grab a blanket, grab whatever you need. And in this practice of staying put for 3 to 5 minutes and learning to accept what is and being aware of discomfort and working through discomfort, you're going to need your breath along the way. So the mind will want to wander off because we're here for a while, and the mind will want to avoid the discomfort. So always coming back to your breath. That's going to be your home base. And the discomfort, you want to just be discomfort. You don't want it to be pain. So if it's sharp or it's electric, you want to back out or find a way to support your body. But a good amount of discomfort is normal. Keep it a 6 or less on the 1 to 10 pain scale. And you can always back out of a pose and come back into it if you need to, especially if you're new to this practice. And if you are new to this practice, definitely hang with your breath. You're going to need it to get through because it often can feel like, how much longer am I in this yoga pose for? How long are we in pigeon? This is ridiculous. So when those moments happen, just always come back to the breath. And I'll keep you posted as to how long we're going to be everywhere that we are. And we're focusing by staying so long in these poses on the ligaments and the tendons. So traditional yoga, exercise, stretching, all of that focuses typically on the muscle. And we are focusing on the connectors, which don't get a lot of blood. And because they take a long time to release into a stretch, don't get a lot of stretch. So typically, if you tear a hamstring or any other muscle in the body, it's more the ligament that you've torn. It's that connective tissue than necessarily the belly of the muscle. So we are just loving up all those connective tissues. So while we may not be out in the world connecting with others, we are inside connecting with all the little connector pieces in the body. And as we get started, I want to offer you a little cleansing meditation. You can use this any time of day. I like to use it specifically in the evenings because it's just great for clearing the day away, but it's awesome for clearing out any negative energy. Somebody says something that's just kind of irked you all day, or you wake up in the morning, you've had some weird dreams and you just can't shake it. Anything you can't shake, you can use this meditation for. So take a couple deep breaths into your heart center. And you want to feel the beating of your own heart. And it's said that the heart is the only place in the body where nothing else can reside, meaning that no external forces or energy can reside in that space. That is your sacred space. That's why in so many different religions around the world, you see the sacred heart depicted in their artwork. This is your safe space. This is where you can come and close all the doors and all the windows and just be with yourself without needing to worry about anything that's going on around you. It's where you're going to find clarity. So take a second to kind of set up the internal space of your heart, the sacred heart. What does it look like? Does it have windows? Does it have wallpaper? Is it just a padded room? What do you need it to be today? Is it, do you need it to be a sailboat in the middle of the ocean? You need it to be a forest? Do you need it to be a room full of people you love? Let's go ahead and paint the inside however you would like it to be. And you're going to sit yourself comfortably somewhere in that room. And then you're going to ask yourself if there's anything you're ready to let go of. So whether you're just starting your day and there's something you'd like to release from your dream state, or you're just ready to release it in your life, or if you're finishing your day and you want to clear out something that happened today, you just want to clear out the chatter that's coming in from the world around you, the fear, the panic, your own anxieties, your own fears, irritation from other people's fears and anxiety. Just go ahead and pick one thing. And you are going to imagine that sitting or floating just in front of you. And get as detailed as possible. If you're really irritated about something, just go to town on it. List out all the reasons that you are pissed off, irritated, gears are grinded, whatever. Get super specific. Somebody irritated you, list all the reasons. Right down to you don't like their shoes. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how petty you might think it is. Just take it all and put it in front of you, super detailed. Make it bright and colorful. If you need to throw a little temper tantrum, go ahead and throw it. And then go ahead and place a trash can in under this picture you've just painted. And you want to imagine all of the color from that picture draining out of it into the garbage can. And then just imagine the outline, whatever it is that's been upsetting you, turning to ash and falling into that garbage can. You're going to take that garbage can and set it right up where you just imagined that picture, where that empty space is. And you're going to turn the garbage can to pure 24 karat gold, alchemy, also known as turning lemons into lemonade and shit into gold. Turn it to gold, and then you're going to explode that garbage can into gold dust. Just let that cloud of gold dust hover in the place where that garbage can used to be. And on your next exhale, you're just going to gently blow that dust away from you. And you are sending that dust back out into wherever it needs to go, whether it needs to go down into Mother Earth or up into the heavens, or if it needs to go back to the person that sent it to you. But we've turned it to gold, so we've de-energized it first by taking all the color away. We've concealed it into a container, and then we've purified it with gold and sent it back out. So you're not sending this energy back to the person that gave it to you in spite or in anger. It's cleaned, it's purified. It's just energy. We decide how it hits us, if it's right or if it's wrong. It's good if it's bad. So we've just cleansed all of our stuff from it, and we're sending it back. And just take a moment to sit with the compassion of the situation. Compassion for yourself, compassion for anyone else involved. Letting go of the I could have done this or they could have done that or should or all of the stuff. Let it go of it and just hold compassion. It's in the compassion that we can change and we can grow. If we're angry at something, we're stuck. We send compassion out and we start to heal ourselves and we start to heal the world. So that was just one garbage can. You might have 50 of them to fill, 50,000 of them. This is a great meditation anytime you just want to release. Like I said, I love to do this at the end of the day. It's a great way to just clear myself of whatever's happened. And open your eyes. Blink them a couple times. And then we're going to go ahead and find ourselves in a wide-kneed child's pose. So if you've got any knee issues, you might need to prop up your hips. But you're going to bring your feet together and your knees wide, sitting on something if you need that extra support. And then you're just going to fold yourself forward. Resting your forehead to the ground. And if that's feeling too intense, you always have the option of propping up your chest or your head with a block or a blanket, pillow, whatever you got. Puppy dog. Slow, deep breaths here. And in every yin pose, once you get yourself settled into it, you get your breath moving, you want to take that opportunity to, again, turn inwards and notice what's going on in your body. So what do your feet feel like here? Do you feel like the tops of your feet are really tight? If that starts to be too intense, you can go ahead and roll up a sock, something small, place it in under the ankle, so between the ankle and the floor. Do you feel this in your knees? Do you feel it in one knee more than the other? Again, you can always place something between the thigh and the calf. Do you feel it in your hips? Does it feel like you need to bring your knees a little closer together or a little wider apart? Do you feel this in your low back? Do you feel it in your underarms or along the side bodies? You feel it in your shoulders? What happens if you rotate your palms up towards the sky? Does that shift how it feels in your shoulders? So when we think about this pose, we think about it being for the hips, a little bit for the back and along the side bodies, but mainly in the hips. But a lot of people will feel this in the tops of their shoulders and up into the neck. And that's because we live a life where we drop our shoulders forward and we sink our heart back. We stick our chin forward. So I spend a lot of time kind of here, chin way forward, because that's the only way when our chest is rounded like this that we can look up at somebody. So all of that now in this position, the chin is getting pulled back towards the base of the skull. And the shoulders and the neck are allowed to realign. So instead of being kind of the shoulders in front, we're actually resting, using the weight of gravity on our own body to pull the shoulders back a little bit, pull the head back a little bit, and align the cervical spine. So you might find a really wonderful release through the neck and traps, which is an added bonus. Yay. Couple more breaths here, about 5 nice slow inhale and exhales. You'll slowly back out of this just by picking the chest up and walking the hands in. And take a moment to just sit up tall. Close your eyes. Find the base of your spine, so your tailbone, right in between your sitting bones. And feel the pelvis. Are you tipped forward? You tipped back, so try to find neutral, maybe even tip the pelvis forward and backwards, and then find that center space. And then line the spine up over top and try to get your shoulders so they rest over top of the hips. Ideally, standing should be super easy because we just stack everything. The same with sitting, we just stack one thing on top of the other. Because of the way we've been living our lives, we don't necessarily end up stacked. So take a moment to try to orient your shoulders over top of your pelvis. Think about your heart resting right over the center of the pelvis. So if the pelvis is a bowl, think about your heart kind of like a cherry dangling right over the top of that bowl, like you're trying to drop a cherry down into the center of the bowl. And then notice if your shoulders are kind of rolled forwards. Think of the head of the shoulder like an ice cream cone on a hot day. If you tipped forward, you're going to lose the ice cream. Keep the shoulders upright, keep your ice cream cone upright. That way you can eat it. Sometimes it helps to turn the palms up in order to get that extra external rotation through the arm bones and up into the shoulders. And then think about your brain as whatever fruit you want, grapefruit maybe. And that's just hanging out right above that cherry of the heart that's hanging over that bowl of water. The ice cream cones on the side. If you haven't noticed, I am a highly food-driven animal, and that's how I describe yoga poses. And this is really just a sneaky way for me to get you guys to stretch out your shins and ankles a little bit more. Okay, opening the eyes. And you're going to slowly release out of this, and you might feel a lot of discomfort here in the fronts of your ankles. If you've got a lot of tightness going through the top of the foot, you might feel that there. I'm going to orient myself sideways so you can get a better look at this next pose, but it's similar to the one we just did. So you're going to start off on all fours, hips on top of knees, shoulders on top of wrists, And you're going to keep your booty right where it is and just walk your hands as far forward as they can go while keeping your booty where it is. And then drop your chest down. And maybe the forehead comes down as well. Now, this is a place where you might actually need a blanket, a block, a book, rolled up towel, whatever you got. Puppies, again, awesome options. You can place it under the chest or place it under the forehead. Come back to your breath. Now, if you have a shoulder impingement at all, you might feel some pinching in the tops of the shoulders, and you want to rotate the arms externally and bring your palms up to the sky, if that's the case for you. This again is working on the neck, shoulder alignment. So you might feel a lot of intensity through the neck and shoulders. It's also really awesome for the waistline. So this is just a variation of the last pose that we did that's a little more upper body focused as opposed to lower body focused. So the legs are really standing strong here, and you want to feel everything from the pelvis just tipping forward and pouring out onto the mat. You want your heart melting down towards the floor. You want to really open up the underarms. So feeling as if the underarms are really sinking down towards the floor. Always coming back to your breath. Relax your belly. Relax your tongue. Go ahead and even relax your cheeks. So you want to feel like your cheeks are melting down towards the floor here. And we'll take a couple more deep breaths. And slowly bringing your chest up, walk your hands back, coming back onto all fours. We're going to kind of stay with this pose and just watch this next part because it might not make sense when you've got your face down in your mat. So you're essentially going to come into half of that same pose. So what we're going to do is thread one arm behind the other, bring that shoulder down, and then the other arm comes forward where it just was. You're going to relax your head on the mat. I can't because I have headphones on. So this is a pretty common yoga pose. It's typically used to open up across the shoulder, but we're actually going to switch it up. So this is why I'm saying watch for the first time. You're going to take that forward hand and walk it across your yoga mat as far as it will go. And then plant your palm down. Push your palm into the floor. So right here, I've got my left arm across the top of my mat. So I'm going to take my left hip and just lengthen it back. So I am stretching myself back. So that forward arm comes forward, reaches as far as it can go, goes across the mat, really reaches, plant the palm down, and then pull the hip back. So if you're not in the pose yet, you're going to thread one arm behind the other, bring that ear down to the floor. Take the other arm and extend it up towards the front of your mat. Reach as far as you can go. You actually want to tip your weight past your shoulder, past that floor shoulder, and then reach across the mat as far as you can go. Plant the hand, maybe even walk it a little further forward, and then sink that hip back. And then imagine me coming around and putting one hand on top of your forward hand and one hand on top of that hip and stretching you in two different directions. If you are doing yoga with someone else right now, I would say take this opportunity to offer that assist to your partner. So just take turns real quick. It's freaking delicious. So if you're assisting, you're just going to take one hand on top of your partner's hand, the other hand on top of that same hip that that hand is on or from, same side, and lengthen them out. Glorious. Breathe deep into your side body here. And maybe after a couple more breaths, you can walk the hand a little further across the mat and a little further away from you, deepening your stretch. Again, relax your jaw, relax your head. Just let your head be super heavy on the mat. Let's take two more deep, slow breaths. To come out of this, you're going to take that forward hand and walk it across your mat, back in front of your face. Push into the mat with that hand and slide the arm out from under you. And just take a couple cat cows here. So just arching the back and rounding the back. Make sure when you round, you tuck the chin and tailbone towards each other as tight as possible. And then open the chest, shoulders, and sitting bones as you arch. Good. And then we're going to take the other side. So sliding that other arm through and down onto your shoulder, bring that ear down onto the mat, extend the other arm forward, shift your weight forward a little bit so you're just past your shoulder and you can really extend through that forward arm. And then walk the hand across your mat as far as you can go. Plant your palm down and then pull your hip back. And again, if you're doing this with a buddy, the adjustment would be to place one hand on their forward hand and one hand on their hip and lengthen. Turning to your breath, slowing it down, deepening it. Open up the whole side body here. See if you can take that hand a little bit deeper. Reach through those fingertips a little bit more. Send the hips back at the same time. And again, about 5 more deep breaths here. Notice if you're holding tension any place that you don't need to be holding tension, like your forehead, your tongue, your cheeks, your toes. A lot of times people will start to flex their feet here, so relax the tops of the feet down towards the mat. One more big breath. And to back yourself out of this pose, you walk the hand back across the mat, back down in front of your face. Press into your hand, unwind. Come on back to all fours. We'll do a couple cat cows. Again, as you arch your back, feel your sitting bones lift up and spread apart. Collarbones and shoulders pull out and back. And then round in. Push the floor away from you with your hands and your knees. Pull your belly up. Think about taking your chest and your thighs towards each other. Arching. Opening everything up. Spreading away from the midline of your body. And rounding. Good. Coming back onto all fours, just watching this next pose for a second. So we're going to continue to open up the chest. This will start off on your belly with one arm out to the side. And you're going to roll over onto one side and walk your hand away from you at the same time. Relax the head down and then support yourself with that top leg. So bring yourself onto your belly. Let's take the left arm out, palm flat down. Walk the hand away from you as you roll yourself over. Take the top leg. You can support behind or in front or on top of, just wherever feels good for you. You're going to relax your head down. And then your right hand is actually pressing gently. So your right hand is active. It's pressing your chest open. So you don't want to let the chest cave in here and that right shoulder roll down. You want to open it up. And if it's available to you, actually allow your pelvis to hang backwards. So you get a little extra pressure there. And then if this is feeling real good, or as good as this pose can't possibly feel, you're going to spread your palm that's down on the floor and press down into the floor, like you're trying to take the hand through the floor. If you've got really tight shoulders, and especially through your chest, then you might find this to be a very challenging pose, and you may find that you don't make it all the way over. Maybe you're just kind of hovering at like 45 degrees off the ground, and that's fine. You can go ahead and prop up your chest here, bend that knee, and let that kind of support the pelvis, and just take it as far as you can go today. Tomorrow it might go a little further. 2 minutes from now it might go a little further. This is one of my favorite poses to do in the morning in bed. Roll over on my belly and roll to each side. It's a great way to kind of wake up, open up your chest, open up your heart. Let's take 2 more slow, deep breaths here. And slowly roll yourself back onto your belly. The worst part of this pose is always coming out of it for me. And then you're going to turn your face towards the hand that you just had out. And relax down onto that opposite ear. Just hang out for a couple breaths. We'll go on to the other side. So if you haven't already brought that right arm out and bring it out shoulder height, palm flat down, roll yourself over onto your right side, walking the hand away from you as you go. Use that top leg to support you. Relax your head down onto the mat. And then your left hand is in front of your chest, pressing you gently deeper into the pose. And if it's available, allow the pelvis to tip backwards, adding a little extra pressure there. Always coming back to your breath. And if it feels like you want to go deeper here, you're going to take that right palm, spread it wide, and press down into the floor as if you're trying to push the arm through the floor. Notice where you're holding that unnecessary tension. Forehead, jaw, tongue, toes. A couple more deep breaths, nice and slow. Very slowly rolling out of the pose onto your belly. Turning your head to face the arm that you just were working on and relaxing the head down. And we've got one more pose. Two sides, one more pose. We've done a lot of shoulder opening, chest opening. So I want to do one last hip opener. This one is a doozy. So I'll show it to you in two directions. So from here, go ahead and press yourself back onto all fours. You're going to come into the middle of your mat. And go ahead and drop down onto your left hip. So you're sitting on your left hip. Left leg is going to extend out to your side, 90 degrees, straight out. Right leg is going to extend straight back behind you. So if you have video on and you can see yourself, you can't see that back leg. And you're squared off. Feet are flexed. So imagining that you have a wall at each foot and you square yourself off. Now, this in and of itself might be plenty. You want to think about taking your right hip and folding it down towards that left inner thigh. So that's deepening your twist. And now we might be cooking with gas. Chest is open, shoulders are pulled back, feet are flexed and active. Reach through your heels. If it feels like you want more, you can take your hands forward. You can come down onto your forearms and try to keep your head in alignment with the spine. So you're not looking forward, yanking on the neck. You're not dropping your head down and caving into your chest. You're just lengthening the whole length of the spine. You might find it beneficial to turn your palms up here. That external rotation can be really nice through the collarbones. But the main action that we're doing here is we're trying to fold that top hip down into that bottom thigh. Reach through your heels and take really deep breaths into your belly here. So this is a twist. It's awesome for wringing out our internal organs, just giving them a little squeeze. It's like giving yourself a hug. So especially if you are alone right now, this is a great way to give yourself a hug. And believe me, your digestion will appreciate this pose greatly. Awesome, awesome pose if you're constipated. Stress, anxiety, all that stuff can really affect people's digestive tract. So if you're one of those people that gets constipated when you're stressed, this is an awesome pose to come into. Squeezes out those intestines, gets things moving. But it also opens up the hips in a really big way, if you haven't already noticed by being in the pose. And the hips are where we like to hold all of those emotions that we're just not quite ready to handle in the moment. So anything that's going on that you're avoiding in your in your external landscape, you in the internal landscape kind of like to stick in your hips. So if you've ever been in a yoga class and in a hip opener and started crying, you're not the first and you won't be the last. It's something I see all the time. And to come out of this pose, you just slowly walk your hands up, bend your knees. That's like the best part. And then I like to hang out here with my knees just bent a little bit, and that right hip will be up off the ground. And if you just lean into the right sitting bone, like you're trying to bring that butt cheek down onto the ground, you're going to get a nice stretch through the groin and the inner thigh. And I just find that really nice to kind of release the opposite way than we were just focusing, because we were focusing on a really strong internal rotation, and now we're getting a nice external rotation. And then you'll just release, swing around, switching sides. Now we come onto the right hip. That right leg comes straight out 90 degrees to the side. Left leg extends back. Both feet are flexed. And you want to look back at that left leg. Make sure it's in line with the hip, which is in line with your rib cage. And then we start off by pressing through both heels and then folding this left hip down towards the right thigh and squaring off the chest. And you can stay here, or you can start to work your way down. Whatever feels good. Good might not be the right word. Whatever feels like it takes you right to your edge. Real deep breaths into the belly, wringing out those internal organs, getting the digestion moving. If you're like me, maybe regretting eating that extra biscuit tonight at dinner. It's like, Squeeze into my stomach. You want to stay connected all the way down to your heels and your toes here. This pose is really easy to kind of go into noodle legs. So you want to stay really active, pushing through the legs like you're trying to make yourself taller by lengthening your legs. And then continuing to draw that left hip, that top hip down towards the inner thigh. We're getting a really intense internal rotation through both hips. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention on the other side is this leg that's out to the side. Um, you can change the where you point your toes. So sometimes it feels really good to have the pinky toe down on the ground, and sometimes it feels really good to deepen that internal rotation and take the toes more up towards the ceiling. So that's a fun thing to play with. If this pose feels really good to you and you find that it's beneficial in your body and you make it a part of your daily life, you can switch it up because our body is different in the morning than it is in the afternoon than it is in the evening. So if you're doing the same pose morning, noon, and night, it's going to be different every time. About 3 or 4 more slow breaths here. And to come out, just coming up onto your hands. And then just bend the knees a little bit. Bring yourself on top of your pelvis. And then think about sinking that left butt cheek down into the mat. Getting a little bit of an alternate stretch through that left hip. And then gently releasing. You're going to bring yourself onto your back for Shavasana. Any props that you need here. So if you need a blanket, go ahead and grab a blanket. If you want to put a blanket, pillow, block, bolster, whatever you got under your knees, foam roller, you can do that. Feet go a little bit wider than hip width. Arms come out to the side. I want you to think about taking your palms up towards the sky and then turning the pinky fingers towards the ceiling and the thumbs down towards the floor. So a really strong external rotation. And then reach away from your body with your fingertips. And then drop the arms down and relax them. So you got a nice strong external rotation. Relaxing down into it. Take your head and gently shake it side to side. Finding yourself center, resting there. And then think about think about the chin as having a weight on it. Not right on the end of the chin, but kind of the front of the chin, just below that bottom lip. Think about like a stone or something just gently resting there so that you pull the chin back towards the base of the skull and lengthen the back of the neck. Taking a couple deep breaths here, being really mindful of your breath for a moment before we let it go. And then letting the breath go. Eyes are closed. Feeling the weight of gravity resting on the skin of the front of your body. Feeling the weight of your clothes resting into the skin in the front of the body. Feeling the weight of gravity of your clothing, of your skin resting into the tissue beneath that skin. And then the weight of gravity of your clothing, your skin, and of the tissue resting down into your bones. And then gravity, clothing, skin, tissue, and bones resting into the tissue in the back of the body. And that all rests into the skin that's touching the floor. And all of that rests down, surrendering into the floor. And feeling the weight of gravity of your body and of the floor, the building that you're in, resting into the earth. And all of that resting and vibrating down into all the layers of the earth. Feeling yourself be completely supported. See if you can connect your heartbeat, your sacred heart space, in with that of the center of the earth, of the heart of the earth. And if there's anything that you want to let go of or you're ready to let go of, anything that's weighing on you, any mistrust that you have in the world right now, just letting that fall through your heart center and down through all the layers of the earth into the center, the heart of Mother Earth. Anytime there's something that you're just not sure of, that you're not feeling capable of holding the weight of, you can always open this connection from your heart to the heart of the earth and offer it to Mother Earth. Just surrendering. Bringing your awareness back into your body, back into your breath. Go ahead and spread your heart energy all the way down through your torso, into your hips, down your legs, into your toes, all the way through your chest, your shoulders, through your arms, forearms into your hands, all the way up into your skull, down and out through the ends of your hair. Feel every single hair on your body being filled up with that heart energy. You're going to slowly roll onto one side. And just rest on your side for a moment. Slowly bringing yourself up to a seated position. You're going to bring your hands together. Bring them to your heart center. Feeling your heart beating and under your hands. Feeling your breath. And reminding yourself that you're a divine being and you are supported in every way that you need to be. Sometimes you can't see it. And in those moments, you just need to go inside, stay with your breath, and trust that you are being supported. And that if you can get out of your own way, you're going to receive everything that you need. If you feel called to, you can join me with an Om. Take a deep breath in. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate you joining in.